Welcome back, everybody. Good to be here. Hope you're all having a fantastic day. Beautiful autumn day here. So, today we're going to be doing this cute little bunny here. And I have the traceable for you. It's in the description below. It's a Google Drive download if you want to join in with me to paint this, or you can do it later and have the ability to stop the video and catch up or whatever. This is what it's going to look like. Very, very soft and Christmassy, I think. I think it'd make a really nice painting, or even a card would be awesome. You could take a printout, put your sentiments on here. If you have any questions, feel free to put it in the chat. Put it in caps, all caps, if you're talking to me. Hey, Lisa. So it's going to be a fairly simple one. Fur isn't that difficult if you know what to do. And that's what I'm here for, to show you how I do fur. And today we're going to be using acrylic paint because I am going to be putting this into a journal. And when you use artist grade paint, acrylic paint, and put it in a journal, what happens is the paint can actually glue itself together. So if you have another page with the same type of acrylic paint on it, it tends to glue together. So I like using craft paint when I know I'm going to be putting it in a journal. And I haven't used this journal for a very long time. I've been busy with gardening and everything. And this is just made out of file folders. It could be used ones. You could go to the dollar store and pick up some cheap ones. They don't have to be expensive. They could be any color, because you can always use mixed media paper and then glue it onto this. But this is also good to be painted onto. And I just add all my loose papers and scrapbook papers, because who doesn't have a ton of scrapbook papers, or jelly prints? And you can use those for backgrounds. You can even put little pockets in and just pretty it up. Really, it's like a giant junk journal, but it's your art, basically. I do a lot of stencils. This is embossed deli wrap paper. I put that on because this is a charcoal and pastel, so I didn't want it transferring onto the other side. You can make these smaller too. They don't have to stay the size of your folder. You can cut it down very easily. And I've got a bunch that I did, but I just haven't put them in yet. So these are all loose papers. This one was done on scrapbook paper. So you can paint on scrapbook paper also. This is another one. That's the file folder. Scrapbook paper background. Pan pastel and colored pencil. There's another scrapbook paper, and I just painted onto it. And just a file folder that I painted. I did that one last year. So I have all these loose pieces that I'm going to put in here. And I like to kind of make it so that they lay flat. And in order to do that, what I do is I'll take like this one. It has a little lip on it, and I'll actually glue it onto the next one. And that way it doesn't get as bulky. There's tons of ways of making, and this is very inexpensive, but the paper is so awesome to work on, guys. So don't feel you have to go out and buy expensive paper. File folders work great. Now, what I have done already, just to speed up the process a little bit, is I've actually gessoed this, because gesso will give you the ability to move your acrylic paint smoother. When you're painting on top of paper, it'll feel like a what they call drag, so it doesn't go on your surface as smoothly as it could. So the gesso actually helps that, because it stops it from seeping into the paper and dragging your brush. Hey, Devin, good to see you. I don't know if you can see that. There's a little bunny, and I've just transferred that onto the top of this. And because it's fairly easy bunny here, what we could do, if you want to wait, we can do the background first and then transfer your bunny onto the background. That way you don't have to be fussy painting around your bunny. So I'll probably do that. So I probably shouldn't have put it on yet, but it's very simple. So the paint we're going to use, so the browns in the fur of the bunny, there's golden brown by, and you can use whatever brand you like. These are the two that I typically use, and I have. Burnt sienna. If you don't have them, just get something fairly close. Like if you're going to be doing this with artist grade, use ochre for it. And then you can always darken it or lighten it. Darkening it with a little bit of brown or raw umber will help. Sienna. Calypso blue and cobalt blue. So I wanted a little bit of a tealy aqua color in my color of blue. It's not quite a cobalt, it's a little bit on the aqua side. So, but that's preference too. If you're fine with just cobalt, then use just cobalt. And then Payne's gray, and this is graphite. If you have some black, you could also get some black out too. And I ran out of my white craft paint, but I do have acrylic gouache, and this will work just the same because it's a matte finish. That's why I like these, because they have a matte finish, and this is acrylic gouache, so it'll blend with these ones also. And nothing fancy. I just use the lid of my coffee containers. This black doesn't bother me. Some people like to use either gray, or you could use these takeout containers too. I use these also. So whatever helps you with the color and mixing. Some people have a problem with mixing on black surfaces. I don't. All right, so if you have any questions, put them in caps in the chat, and I should be able to spot them. And I think right now we're going to do the background. So because it's a white bunny, if you notice, the bottom part here is fairly dark, and around the rabbit is also a little more blue. As you go out, it gets into more of a gray blue, so it lightens as it goes out. So that's what we're going to do. And the reason why we want it darker in the center is so the rabbit stands out more, so it has contrast. So just going to mix my paint here. So I'm going to use this Calypso blue. And cobalt blue. And some white. And brushes, because I'm doing the background first. Let's see. You don't need something really small. This is a 1/2-inch black silver dynasty for acrylic. I have a water bucket beside me. So all I'm going to do is I want to mix up a color. So we have some of this color here and just put little bits at a time. So your lightest color first and then your darkest color. And then mix up a color that you think you're going to like. And then add some white. That's not bad. And the nice thing about acrylics is you can always paint over it again if you find after you started painting that it's not the color you really wanted. So I'm just going to go around the bunny. I'm not going to fussy paint though, but I'll just paint kind of where the color is. Make sure you get enough paint made up. A little darker on the bottom, like I said. Now I'm going to spray mine with a mist because I want to keep it wet. And the reason being is because I want to mix white with that blue on the paper itself. If you're doing a canvas, you can do that also. And I'm not really worried about brush strokes. It's kind of a messy background, blotchy almost. Kind of almost reminds me of doing clouds. Just get her on there. I'm lightening as I go out. We're going to put other layers on this, so don't get too caught up in the details yet. This is just the base coat. So we're going to put other layers on here. Then we can go back to that blue color. If you want to mix a little bit more, you can. I'm going to put darker in here. right. So it kind of looks messy, almost ugly. Don't worry about it. It always looks horrid in the beginning. Just have to push on. Keep going. Don't get discouraged early. A little more white. And I'm going to take my hair dryer and dry this up a little bit. Okay. And I'm going to take one of these. This is a badger hair domed brush. These are great for doing blending and clouds, that type of thing. And blending pretty well anything. What I'm going to do is all I want is just the top of my brush. So it's not loaded with paint. It's just the top. And I'm just going to blot it to get some of that water out. And then all you do is start going in circles. And even though you think you're running out of paint, there's still lots on there. You want that almost foggy looking look. You can still see the background through your paint you're putting on. So you'll still have the different tones, but it's softer looking. So you can go a long way on one load of paint. You just want that more soft look to your background. I'm going to do the same thing, but this time with the darker color. So it's a back and forth type of thing that you do. Remember, we wanted the darker around the bunny. You can bring it out a little bit into the white or a lighter background. A little bit more. You don't really need a whole lot of paint when you're doing stuff like this. You know, a lot of people put out way too much paint that they really don't need. Now this bunny's going to have kind of his feet are kind of being fogged out, I guess you could say. Okay. Hey, Linda. Good to see you guys. Are you starting Christmas painting yet? Or cards or crafting? What are you guys doing this time of the year? I have to get some cards done. All right, so I think that's all I'm going to do right now on this. So I'm going to dry it again, and then I'm going to put the bunny back on. All right. This is the tricky part. Should have brought my other traceable down. The eye. I can get the eye on right. Then I should. I think it's right about there. So let's get my sheet of I just use tracing paper or carbon paper and a pen. Not much right now, waiting for Thanksgiving break. Ah, yes. You're American? Yeah. We're all done with our Thanksgiving here in Canada. And I kind of like it that we have ours earlier because it gives us a little bit of a break. I find so much you need to do. And having Thanksgiving and Christmas so close together, you must be like ready to be back to normal by the time Christmas comes. It's a lot of work. You got all the parties and whatnot. There. Okay. So there's the outline. So it tells me where I can put everything now. So here's what we're doing. So around the bunny, it's darker, except down here. We have a little bit of sparkle down there by his tail. So you don't really see his tail at all. He kind of fades out a little bit. You see his little paw, but that's about it. I agree. Plus, it's hunting season, and then Thanksgiving, then Christmas. Where's a oh yeah, hunting season too. Yep. Yeah, I remember those days. You become a hunting wife or a hunting widow, I guess you could say. They leave for a month. At least mine used to. So, because we're going to do white, we want to make sure. That's why I didn't put the blue on all of the bunny, because then it's harder to cover. Because white, even though it is opaque, it's not quite opaque. You like it too, Devin? Plus, holy geez, 2 months of eating and indulging. That's like, whoa. It's too hard with all those temptations not to eat stuff. And then you gain so much weight. So this side is a fairly bright side. So I'm just going to put on a fairly thick layer here. And matter of fact, it's pretty light in here. I could take my brush too, lighten that up a little bit. Like that. And I'm just going to leave a little bit of a line just to show me where that foot is right there. And I'm just basically putting in a base coat to show me where everything is. You can always put the pattern back on if you find you've lost the shape in somehow. So don't worry about, losing stuff. You can always put it back in. So I'm more or less wanting to cover a lot of this blue up that it was over top of them. And on his ear, top part of his ear too, because it's fairly bright. He has some dark in his ear. Let's see, a little bit of light in there. This is still my angle 1/2 inch. Use the brush you feel comfortable with. Don't get a brush too small. Because then it's harder to mix on your paper. If your brush is real small, your paint dries too quick that you're putting on because you're putting on small amounts. Okay, a little bit there. And right there. His little leg. And I'm not too worried about having some blue in his fur down here because it does kind of show that. Kind of a reflection of the night, I guess. And then the top of his little back foot is fairly bright. I like using angled brushes too, because you can use them both ways. We are lucky out hunting property is just a few miles. Oh, that's nice. Yeah, my ex used to go to Manitoba. Way in the middle of nowhere. And it never failed. They would hit a snowstorm. Ugh. And they camped. They didn't stay at a hotel. They camped because it was in the middle of nowhere. Let's see. I think that's good. Little bunny. I'm going to put a little bit, just make sure it's dry before you you put in a second layer on, or it'll start to pull up your bottom layer. Let's see. Well, we could put his little ears in the inside of his ear. So it's kind of a peachy color. So what we can do is use a little bit of this sienna color and put a lot of white in it. We might have to add a little bit of red, but we'll see what we can do. Depending on the sienna you have, different siennas are different. So some are a little more redder than others. So just a dab will do ya. Do a little bit of a smaller brush. Okay, this is a 1/4 inch. It's also a angled. Oh, that was silly. I put it right in the blue. Okay, so a little bit of sienna, a raw sienna, and a little bit of white. See what we can get. That's not bad. That should do, maybe a touch more. It's fairly light. Yeah, that'll do. And I'm just going to coat the inside of his ear. Now you can go a little bit into the fur because we're going to put stuff over top of this anyways. And then just a smidgen right here. It's almost like the sunshine or sparkle is giving a glow to his ear. And he has a little bit on his nose. And we'll add a little bit more to that also. And then just a smidge where his mouth is on the top part. Around his eye. But we'll do that later. We're going to put the eye in first before we do the outer rim. All right. That looks pretty good. Okay, let's give that another dry. All right, now let's see. I'm going to use the smaller dome. I'll show you. As we're going to work on more of the getting the white in this area here. So I want to, this leaves kind of a bristle mark also. We'll try it. Let's just looking at how the fur is running. So if you paint in that direction, you're pretty safe that your lines will look like fur. You just have to be aware of how your fur is running. This is a little bit white, but it does go into the blue tones in here, but we'll do that later. We just want this white put in for now. And in here is very white. And he's fuzzy because it's winter. So he's got a nice long coat. And in here, it's almost going into a almost a Payne's gray, real light Payne's gray. There is a little bit of white on his chest area here. So I'm just going to put some in there. On the top of his feet. Need another coat. This one. Now this is the gouache, acrylic gouache that I'm using for the white. So it is a little bit on the, not as quite as opaque as I would like it, but we're going to have to work with it. Use what you got. These dome blenders too, depending on which type you get, will leave kind of fuzzy marks too. So I really like them. You can get them on Amazon also. And I think they're dry brushing dome blenders, I think they call them. They're meant to be used for, the Warhammer figurines, that type of thing. But they're great. Always looking for a brush that makes certain things easier when doing hair or fur, feathers, that type of thing. All right. It's not bad. Let's see. I think where's my, yeah, I'll use this one. Let's see if I can get that a little bit darker. Or not darker, but opaque. I really want that bright white in there. Almost like it's glowing. Same with here. Little mouth. Just the slightest little fuzz on it too. And you'll go back and forth with stuff. And right in here, he's got a little bit of fuzz. So just lightly flick it up to give a little bit of unevenness. If you have a rake brush too, that works great. Or a flat bristle brush will work. Let's see. Even one of these. This is a Dynasty. 1/4 inch. It's very rough looking. It's meant for foliage, I think. But because it's bristle, it'll leave more of a rough look. And you kind of have to play with it. It doesn't come right away. So don't, if you want to test it first before you use a brush that you're not used to. You can always go back and repaint stuff too. If it's not working out, just put the blue back on and then do the white again. Can't really see that white there. Okay. And get my blue color here. I'll make a little bit more of that. Well, actually, let me think. Maybe a little bit of Payne's Gray. Let's see what this Payne's Gray. Some Payne's Gray look a little bit more black. I like the bluer colored ones instead. So let's see what color this one is. I don't remember. We could do a glaze. Some white. Very light Payne's Gray. And we'll come back with white also. Like I said, it's back and forth, back and forth. Just want to give some texture to this little guy. Let's see. He definitely has some darker tones in underneath. A little bit more white. Back in with the white now. Lighten that a bit. I'm always remembering which way the fur is running. Let's put a little bit of real dark in here where the crease of his neck is. They have these little areas where fur is parting. It's darker underneath. That's what keeps them warm because they have dark fur on the base of their coat. Same with along the eye here. So put some of that in there. And in his little ear. And I'm going to put it along the edge of his ear here, and then we'll go back over it with white. So the tips of his ears are dark. And you don't see it on the other one. And there's a little bit of kind of goldy color also in his fur. So let's put some of this. Kind of going to go back and forth with the fur. So I'm going to put some of this golden brown. So he has, we'll mix it a little bit white with that, I think. His little nose has some. Just here and there. Kind of more or less dry brushed. His little toes have it. A bit in there. And right, little eyebrow. That's it. Under his eye. It doesn't have to be exact. Your reference is just that. It's a reference. So don't get too caught up in having it photorealistic to your reference. So nobody's going to go catch this rabbit and say, see, it's not that way. Okay, I'm going to add a little bit to his ear here. Just to calm that down a little bit. Okay. If you have glazing medium, you could use that too instead of doing every single little stroke. Sometimes People like to use that more. Play with it. Do try different things when you're painting. And that's why I like doing them on paper. 'Cause it's kind of like a giant sketchbook where you're experimenting, and that's how you learn, by experimenting, seeing what different things do, how they work. Maybe you'll find a brush that's like magic. You never know. Or how much pressure you put on the brush also will change your brush stroke. Or if it's a drier application of paint. So I'm really lightly touching my paper now, kind of swiffing it, give it a little bit of a fuzzier edge. I don't want a lot on my brush. See, edges are kind of fuzzy. And then there's quite longer hairs on the inside of his ear in this one here. You could also use Jelly Roll pen or Poscas if you really want to like get fine detail. Depends how much detail you want. I'm just whipping it out, give it a little bit of fuzziness. Also to make it look a little more softer looking fur. And if it doesn't work out the first time, just keep going. Doesn't matter how many layers you put on. As you go, you'll learn things about how the paint's going on, how your brush is um, working for you, and then use that information and do it over again. You don't have to start all over, but just put another coat on till you get it right. But if you're getting really, really frustrated, put it down, go have a coffee, or put it away for a day or two, and then come back to it. Look at your reference. And think about what you did. Try to understand why you're having problems. What is it that you're not seeing? Or um, maybe you're concentrating on one area too much, or just have to kind of play. Things up, put them back down. That's how I work. I enjoy painting It's not about the finished product, it's the doing of it. It's what I really love to do. Okay, I see that this needs to be dark or more opaque, more bright white right in here, right along the back. You can't even see the fur direction. It's like very bright area. Same with the top of his foot. And right here. And there's always many ways of going about doing this. Depends on how much time you want to spend too. Like, do you want it like really detailed, or is it just what's the word I want? I think I'm gonna put his eye in. I like putting the eyes in. It kind of helps me know what I need to do. It may sound weird, but let's see. I need a nice small brush. This one is number 2, round. And his eye is very, very dark. And I think, let's see if we can mix some cobalt blue with some sienna and see what we get. Sometimes this works, sometimes it doesn't. It depends on the craft paint. So I didn't take, let's put some Payne's Gray in it. I think I'm gonna have to get some black. Maybe a black marker or here, got some acrylic wash in black. Just a smidge. Don't want too much water on my brush. And I'll paint the whole inside of his eyeball, even the colored part. And then I'll go put the colored back on once this is dry. I just find it easier to do it that way. So you get the right shape. I may as well put his little nose in too. So I guess I could almost go into that a dark raw sienna with a little bit of black in it. And he's just got a little slit. I gotta put some more. And a little dot right there. It's actually his little mouth right there. And then this little pink, kind of a pink. What did we put with that? Just white, I think. Just a little bit of that color there. And actually, it's a little more on the red side, a little darker. It's a little more sienna. Eh, kind of that color in his mouth. Okay. All right, and then I think I want, still not happy with this color of the inside of his ear. I think I'll probably go in with a white marker, put some fine marks in there. A little bit of dark, right? Ooh, too much. Dark there. And a little dot. He's got a few little marks. This is where his little mustache is too. Let's see. He's got some marks. Like that. Yeah, I'm gonna have to get the marker out, I think. All right. Now let's put his eyeball in with a bit of that gold color. I have started on Christmas cards. Oh, cool. What are you doing? Are you painting them or are you doing um, like cutouts, that type of thing? I'm going to put that bit. This is lighter color skin tone around his eye too, his eyelid. I might have to use. I think I will. I'm going to use a pen, a marker with that. Let's see. Here. No point in punishing myself. Let's see. Probably color will go. This one maybe. Okay, these are Thule Art acrylic markers. They are great. I love them. They're the best markers, and they give you extra nibs. They tell you how to clean them if they stop working. They come in a couple different sizes. The only problem is they don't come individual. They have different packages that you can buy, like jewel tones, nature, or you can go and get reds, yellows, blues, that type of thing. But I really like these. So you have to prime them. So you want to take your nib, press down twice, and then press down until you see the paint come down the nib. Don't keep pressing it. There. All right. So that I can even do the nose a little better. That. Okay. You can paint on top of these too. So let's see. A black one. Yep. Oh, this is the brush one. I could use the brush one. There's a brush nib also that you can get. You don't have to shake these. A little bit more in there. And then let that dry, and then actually get a little more round here. Yeah. Then we can put a highlight in. A little bit of shadowing. We have to let it dry. All right, so while that's drying, we'll let this dry up a little bit. Let's put some of these sparkly things in, I guess you could call them. We'll finish up the bunny once that's dry. So I'm going to take my blender again and white. We just have these little sparkly areas. I'm just putting a few in right now. And then we'll come back and add more. We'll just start off with this though. Okay. Up here. And down here, I'm just gonna fade this out again. So just keep going until there's no paint left. And then I'm just gonna go around these, bring them out, kind of fuzz them out. Kind of want them blurry too. We'll have to go back on some of those and put the centers back in. Some are big. One blurry. Just very small amount on your brush though. It doesn't take much. And down here. And just fix the little centers. Okay. Then I'm going to make some more dots. Let's see. I guess I could still use this. You want real bright in the center of some of these. And they're going to be sparkly. And this one's going to be bigger. Put a little more on there. And then let's see. I don't know if I can do it with this or not. No. Let's try the. Just let it dry, I think. I'm getting impatient. Hmm. And take a little bit of that white with just a smidgen of blue in it. And across his eye. A little bit more bright on the edge here. That. And a watery mix of sienna. Just a bit. Just along here. Shadowed. a little bit on his toes too. Just a bit. Actually, a little bit of the Payne's Gray. All right, and then I'm going to take that big brush again and just basically kind of giving a look of swirls. No. A bit on here. A little more, I guess. And then you can always go back and make some a little bit brighter areas there that showed the brightness of those sparkles. Then I'm going to take, do I have some? If you have a fairly thick, I don't know if that's brush of some sort that you can make some snow. I'm going to take some of that white. I'm just going to use another container here, lots of water. And I'm going to put a piece over his eye. Don't want his eye done. And just splatter. More around the bottom. This is looking very cute, Kathy. I have to get ready to go out. Whose birthday? Oh, happy birthday to your hubby. Have a good evening. All right, and then I'm going to put some gold in. I have this water-based brilliant gold mica. I just want a few dots. Very, very sparkly. And a few on there. And then let's give it a dry, and then we'll do a little bit of finish work with a pen. I think I need a little bit more bigger splotches of white. So I'm going to take some gesso because it's a little bit thicker, and a wet brush. There, that's better. Just needed a little bit more variation in different size snow. All right, let's put some whiskers. I have a Posca here. Oh, maybe this one doesn't work. Don't think I used this one. Nope, not working. Darn. Let's see. The Thule. Oh, that's not the one I want. Let's see. To shape these. All right. So we have some whiskers coming from the other side. Here. And they also have little whiskers in here. That's not gonna do what I want. I think I need a colored pencil. Try that. See, this is when I get I like detail. No, that's not gonna work. What did I use? I need a really fine pen. Oh, don't think I have my white ink down here. Or my that's oil. I don't see where I put my pen nibs. Darn. I don't think that works either. Oh, maybe. Not really. No. Oh, the hunt for the perfect white pen. It's always something you're hunting for, it seems. Let's see. A little bit darker on the top. I'm just putting some dark marks. Since I can't do the white, I'll do the opposite. A little bit of dark in the ear. within here. I'm always hunting a way of detail, fine detail. I love fine detail, but see, that one's too thick. It's coming out too thick. Huh. I guess I'll have to stick to my brush. Oh well. I think it needs a little bit of glazing. I'm finding it a little bit flat looking. So I'm going to take some of this Payne's Gray and I'm going to water it right down on a brush. And right in here. Needs to be darker. Right there. Just under his chin. All right. I think I should stop before I keep seeing things. Terrible. I see stuff and then, oh, that could take a little bit of shadow right there. Here. I guess that's not too bad. Right there. And just around the foot. Under here. All right. Let's roll it up. There we go. Oh, got a mark on it. Of course. It did. Wouldn't be me. There. Another one. Oh. All right. So there it is. Little bunny. Yeah, I think he turned out cute. This first time I did this one, so a lot of times I do mine 2, 3, 4 times before I get it exactly the way I want it. So you got to play with it. Don't expect it to be perfect the first time around. You always have to learn with each piece. So If you wanna give it a go and, see what you can do, download the digital, um, tracing. There's a link down below in the description, and, have fun with it. Alright, well, have a fantastic weekend, and we'll see you again soon. Bye for now.